All right guys, Papa Pepper here. Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Right now, I'm actually just gonna do a test with some of these behind me. Behind me is some free, reclaimed 8-foot fence pickets. They're pretty cool. I decided to take a propane torch and char them. And now they're pretty blackened. They're blackened to the touch. You know, here goes my hand. And what I'm gonna try to do is to sand them and see kind of what it looks like when we sand this. So there's a Japanese, I think, wood preservation technique called Shou Sugi Ban. And you pretty much just burn or char the wood. It helps it to be fire resistant. It holds up to the test of time a lot better. And they would often do that with cedar and use it for siding on buildings. But we're gonna try to maybe do some interior remodel and start where our wood stove is now with the stone that I got out of the creek that I put up there, mortared up there behind the wood stove. And if I had something like this, it would be too dark. If I had just the regular fence picket, it would have some nice kind of barnwood look to it because it's nice and you know, weathered. It was part of a fence line or dumpster enclosure for quite a while. And the problem would be though, you know, if there's any type of bacteria or insects or eggs or stuff like that that could be in here, I don't want to introduce that into my property. So even if I had something like this, I'd want to seal it or cure it or preserve it in some sort of way. It would be better because it's lighter in coloration than this, being so dark for inside the house. But I'm seeing if I can sand this down and maybe keep some of the black highlights on the wood grain and then maybe bring out the natural color of this pine and potentially stain it. I'm not sure. Had a trip yesterday, so I stopped in at a Tractor Supply, picked up a couple cool things. Got some stuff like these, and these are about $2 a piece. And yes, I could take a big thing of rebar and do some bends and probably come up with them myself, but these were pre-made. So I did spend $6 on a couple of these for my garden shed. They'd be good for hoses and other things. Thought I'd grab a handful while I was there. Did pick up a magnet as well, just a big long bar magnet, you know, to hold some things into the wall. And also picked up one of these tire kits for our van because I don't have 10-ply tires yet and we drive down a lot of gravel roads. When the grader comes by and tries to smooth the road, another thing that they do is they pick up and kind of kick up all of the sharp stones that can then slash our tires. So I want to have this with me, or at least in the vehicle with my wife, so we have that in case we do get a flat. But the main thing I wanted to grab was a sander. They didn't have exactly the one that I wanted, but I did pick this one up. It was on sale for about $10 or $15 off. I think it was $15 off. About a $40 sander they had on sale for 25 bucks. I decided to pick it up and give it a try. It's a Bauer 17115E-B. It just takes the quarter sheets, so I can use sheets of sandpaper as opposed to buying the discs. Those sheets also come in handy for other things, hand sanding and stuff. So I'm gonna hook this up and let's take a look and see what it can do with this and if this is gonna work or not. I don't know yet. I want to do that test. So what I did is I took a big sheet of sandpaper, I ripped it in half, ripped one of the halves into quarters, latched it onto here, and then one thing too, it has a dust collection thing here. So this is a punch for it. I guess you just kind of put that on there and punch it so it puts holes in your sandpaper. I'll show you this closer. This plastic piece went over the top. If I pull it off, now the sandpaper has holes in it that allows the vacuum to suck up the dust. So pretty cool. It's just got these little releases here. So by pulling this off, it takes the back one. By pulling this off, it loosens the top. The front one here, see that? That front one's now loose. Comes off, tuck your sandpaper in there. And hold it in place with your finger and then tighten it back up on there. So it locks it in place. So we're gonna give this a try. And I got this on my forehead to give you guys just a GoPro look of it because it won't be a good angle with this camera. So a couple things with this. You can still see the nice charred wood there and some great grain popping out. Those cracks also were burned. This board is slightly bowed. So here kind of where there's more cupping, a lot more stuff got kind of sanded off. But I do think that looks pretty cool, and I'm not sure what a shellac or a varnish would do to kind of bring that to life. And I'm also not sure if I had a deeper burning, if it kind of creates something different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand off a couple more of these here. I guess let's just kind of take a before of how these look. Obviously the one on the end was a little newer of a picket, and it got charred more. And then the 5 on this side, you can see a lot more grain popping out. I just got the 150 grit on there right now, and I'm gonna sand these down a bit and we'll see what they look like after. I'm going to switch up to a 24 grit, try something a little more aggressive and just check out the difference, and then I'm going to probably burn some of these, probably these ones, at least take 1 or 2 and just char them a little more in depth and see, you know, I'm kind of looking for the ideal result here, so we'll see how that works. But here is those first 2, and I'll tell you what, there's definitely some stains and some stuff I could add to that to really make that pop, so we're going to see. And one thing I'm contemplating is maybe then trimming out some of the windows and stuff just with the completely burnt stuff and not sanding that. Yeah, I'm just gonna add a little bit more. That way you guys don't pick on me for the little spots I have, okay? Yeah. What happened to you, Toothless?
My sister put some, well, you got some of this chocolate stuff and put it on my face. And then one of my sisters got some charcoal and rubbed it all over it and then dabbed it. And yeah.
You look about 35 years older.
Huh?
Yeah. How old are you?
7.
So you look about 42. Did you know that?
No.
You do? What I've done with this one here is I burned it and then I sanded it flat. It was just so cupped that I thought it'd be best to sand it flat. Now I'm going to burn it again and then sand it again. I think that might be able to pull off the look I'm looking for, so we're going to find out. So after the second burn and sanding, this is what we got. I'm kind of wanting to do an experiment to see what it's going to look like kind of wet if I use a clear coat on it or something like that. All I have at the moment is stuff like this, Krylon and Rust-Oleum. So I'm going to give it a go, see what this looks like, and then maybe consider if there's any type of stain or other coating that I would prefer. But I'm just trying to get a look at it, and then I'm going to try to get a look at it in place as a prototype just to start somewhere and then move up from there, see what Mama Pepper thinks. So with some of these, I think I'm still going a little bit darker than I would want to go. This one was just covered with a gloss, a spray gloss. Same thing with this other one. There's definitely a lot of cool colors in there. It's really nice, but I'm contemplating a couple different things as I continue. One is I just spent some time talking to a neighbor of mine, and he spent a while, years and years of his life, dealing with wood and making it look better than just it does naturally. He has an extra matte, a satin, and a gloss that he's going to allow me to test some examples out with, some samples to see what they look like. And I'm contemplating before I do that, if I don't just take another board. And I'm wondering what happens if I sand it first, then burn it, and then resand it, if that might give me more of the look I'm looking for. I'm not sure. I'm going to do that as the next experiment, and then throw a couple up on the wall here and see what we're dealing with. I think that's the section I'm going to test. What I'm going to do is cut it into some 23-inch sections. That way I can place it above my wood stove, above that rock and mortar there. And it'll tuck up behind the trim we have on there now. And I'll just mark them on the back here, whether they're satin, gloss, or the extra matte. And we'll see. I'm going to do these up quick and pop them in place, see what they look like. So again, these are just kind of checking my burn depth, checking my sanding depth, and then also just trying a couple different, clear coats on them. And it's a prototype. And when I actually do this, I'll put 2 coats on them. I'm just seeing if this is gonna be too dark or not. I definitely like the way it looks. I just don't know compared to the rest of the house. So we're gonna give that a try here in a minute. What do you think? Will that look nice in our house? Yeah. He likes it, but we gotta check with Mom, right? Yeah, we gotta check with Mom. So, darling, take a look at those. Is that gonna be, you wanna walk up there and take a peek? Is that gonna be too dark for you or anything, or? That was kind of one option I was thinking. Those each have different clear coats on them, but that's pretty much just the natural pine, sanded, burned, and then sanded again.
Wow.
I mean,
very pretty, but yeah, it might be too dark.
That's what I was wondering.
I think it looks gorgeous and beautiful anyway, but I'm not sure. How much effort would it be to do with the white, like we talked about?
I'm not sure even how you'd go about that.
We have to do some research.
So if anyone out there knows anything about anything like this, thinking about trying to make that lighter, you know, still have the dark burnt stuff, but then how to make the remaining stuff lighter. I don't have a lot of experience with that. I'll be researching myself, but if you guys have helpful comments, please leave them. Oh, and check that out. Mama Pepper here is sporting our newest design for our Etsy shop, and it says, live in such a way in the present that when you get to the future, you don't regret your past. That's kind of one of the philosophies we have here. I call that shirt time management, and I think with good reason. You like that one? Mm-hmm. So, it is a wonderful look up here, guys. You look at that wood. I mean, that's fantastic. I love the way it complements the natural stone. Just not sure if that's going to be too dark for in here or not. One thing I could do is, you know, if I had a darker wall, I could insert some little lights around the top to shine down on it, but that's not really... It's going to give more of a cave-like feel, I think.
Yeah, with the rocks and stuff.
So a potentially good use of these, you know, reclaimed, free, repurposed 8-foot fence pickets I got. I just don't know if it's going to work for us, hence the prototypes. I'll do some thinking, some brainstorming. She's a huge researcher around here, aren't you? And if you guys leave any helpful comments, we'll look at that stuff too. And we'll see. But until next time, Papa out.